making a strategic plan and revisiting it, whether it's monthly or quarterly, and then annually with our board of directors and stakeholders, has been so important to us. And when COVID came about, we took a time out and stopped and looked at it to see how we needed to pivot and where we were going and what could maybe be put on hold in our strategic plan and how we could respond. So it allowed us to respond quicker. I know as a team, it allowed us to stay cohesive. And then it helps when you're talking to a team so they know the direction of where your organization is going. I think small businesses, if the owner has plans of growth or expanding and the employees are not aware of it, it can lead to some disconnect and not everybody being on the same page. So a strategic plan is so important in that aspect. And then I think one other point is making it SMART goals. I know you talked about this, but making sure that your goals are specific and measurable. Also making sure that they're attainable, relevant, and then time-based, putting a time on your goals. And I know a lot of times we don't hit those and you can reassess, but I do think it's important to put deadlines on those goals.
No question.
With that, I do have a couple questions for you. One question that came about is, what do you say to a business owner that says, I just don't have time to plan? I don't have time. I'm so busy doing my job every day, doing the book work, doing all these things. How do I take time to plan? What do you say to someone in that position?
Well, there's no easy way to say it. You have to make plan or make time to put the plan together. I completely understand that. I think you can look at it, and I've done this with a couple clients, is you can bite it off in one bite, or you can do it as a process. And that is, I always look at them and I say, okay, can you schedule an hour a week over the next 6 weeks? Just break it down, 4 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon or 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. Just devote, instead of sitting there and doing it all at once, can you devote a little bit of time here once a week to devote to planning and analysis? And I had a couple clients where they said, I don't have the time. So I just said, let's look at your schedule. Give me your schedule for what's a regular, some clients, they were really busy. They were swamped. Other clients, what I found, many of them realized, I can carve out some time here. This is a distraction here. I can have, somebody else do that. Or, in the case with sole proprietor, because I know from experience, do you have an evening that you can spare that you can devote to planning? So it's a case of finding the time to do it. It's as simple as that. You just have to make time.
Okay, very good. And then another thing is, when it comes to accountability and being a small team, how do you do that? How do you keep your team members accountable? How do you keep yourself accountable?
Glad you asked that, because one part that we need to emphasize is it is so important once the plan is put together to communicate that plan, to put that plan into the culture of the organization. I had a grocery store that put together a strategic plan, and it didn't matter if they were hiring the produce manager or the head butcher, or right down to the teenager who was going to work the till or be the boxer. They communicated that strategic plan. Every employee knew where they fit within that plan. And one of the things about that SMART grid that you just mentioned and accountability is, it is so important. It's a team of people working for you. If you've got grocery store is a good example. The produce manager should know what his or her role is in the strategic plan. Empower them. Give them some accountability and some authority in some aspect of the strategic plan. In businesses where you have employees, particularly businesses, the best ones I like are those that have had longer, that have been there for 5 or more years, that there's a team there. Bring them in, give them that accountability, give them that authority, and hold them accountable. In many cases, what you find is employees feel empowered. they have a clear understanding of what the plan is, and there are new approaches adopted, new ideas that are brought forward that you don't necessarily have without a plan.
Very good. Well, thank you very much, Jason. You did an excellent job laying out why to strategic plan, how a business could go about it, and then possible resources. You know, businesses can reach out to their local economic development office to figure out where to start, whether it's connecting them with a consultant such as yourself, or just giving them some direction on how to get started, or, you know, revisiting the plan through as they go. So definitely reach out to local resources with that. But I want to close today by pointing out the Bowman County Development Corporation actually has plans for strategic planning this year. We have a history here in Bowman County of being very successful with our strategic planning. We've done a good job of keeping it updated at least every 5 years. And this year we are looking to build off of that. So Jason, you will actually be helping us facilitate that plan. Putting together a strategic plan for Bowman County allows us to communicate to stakeholders what we're doing, but it also allows them to have a voice in how leadership is using their resources and where you want to see your community go. So we will be hosting listening sessions, engaging our leadership throughout the county, having meetings open to the public to give their input, and all of this will be considered to help define our objectives for the next 5 years. So we want to encourage everyone on the call to spread the word. If you are a business owner or if you are a citizen here in Bowman County, get involved in that process. Your voice matters. We hope to get as much of the public buy-in in this process as possible. So reaching out not only to business owners, but to the youth, to elderly, and all citizens in our community. It is so important for us to have your voice in that process. This plan will be 5 years. It is a living document, so reassessing as we go, but it does show us the direction that our community wants to go forward with. So that plan will actually be funded by a grant from the Department of Commerce, and we are greatly looking forward to it. So we hope all of you watch for that this fall and make plans to participate. Thank you again, Jason, and thank you to everyone signing on today. And with that, we will close.